Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of May 25th, 2024. Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's hour one.
All right, let me ask you a question. How many times have you ever lost the remote control for your TV? Yes, raise your hand if it's been more than 5. I am right now. We have these like whiz-bang couches in our home theater, and we lost the remote. Don't know what happened to it. So I go into the home theater, and there's Barry like crawling around with the light on his phone, like trying to find the remote. Till finally he's like, I give up. I can't find it. I don't know where the remote is. I'm like, dude, we're not going to drop another $500 on a remote that we lost in the couch, because apparently we did this, I don't know, 3 months or so ago. I just learned that the other day. So I'm like, I'm going to get it down there. So I grab a flashlight, I start nosing around, I find the remote, and I'm like so happy that finally we have the remote. And now I told him, like, we have this little table in the home theater. This is where the remote goes every single time you watch TV. This is where it goes. Now, the Walmart sells a TV called the On 4K TV Pro. It actually has a button on the front that makes the remote beep and flash with the LED lights. So in case you lose it, you can find it that way. Roku has a similar thing on their remote. Now coming to Android TV, a way for you to find the remote. But some sad news. I don't know if you heard about this. The guy who invented the remote control, he died the other day. Yeah, they found him in the couch's cushions. I know that's a bad one. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You're about ready to get more tech smarts, because every single thing is now a tech thing. I am, after all, Kim Komando, America's digital goddess, here with you once again. And it's the best show. It's the biggest show. It's the most trusted show. It's the award-winning show called the Kim Komando Show. Funny how that works. On over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can find the Kim Komando Show as a commercial-free podcast a few places over inside the Komando community. Also, you can find it commercial-free on Apple Podcasts and also Spotify. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. Now, I have to tell you something here at the beginning of the show. Great sponsors help to make the show possible. And I'm always negotiating, money-saving exclusive deals that you can only get here on the Kim Komando Show. So we give out various addresses, for our sponsors. Of course, we want you to go to the right place. And so if you're ever confused, what's the address for Total AV, for Incogni, for NetSuite or T-Mobile or whatever it may be, you want to go to one spot. That's komando.com/sponsors, komando.com/sponsors. All right, just for you and for me too, I visit at least 35 different websites every single day to make sure that we are both up to date with what's going on in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things you need to know that's happening right now. And I have to start with a disturbing story. I hate to do that at the beginning of the show, but there's never been a child pornography case like this one, which is why it will eventually make its way to the United States Supreme Court and decide the fate of the future of child pornography and the evil ones who produce it. Here is the question. What if child porn is produced, but no child, in fact, no person, no human being was used in the production? In Wisconsin, federal prosecutors have charged 42-year-old Stephen Atterig of using artificial intelligence to create more than 13,000 fake images of minors engaging in sexual activities. Now, there is a law passed 2 years ago designed to prohibit even imaginary characters in child porn, but the law is new and it's never been tested. Atterig's defense, of course, is going to be that no real person was abused, no real person was injured, And no matter how long it takes for this case to resolve, it's going to be a major event impacting the future of child pornography here in America. Hopefully, just put these sickos, these whack jobs in jail forever, I tell you. Moving on to number 2, you may have noticed something when you Google something over the past week or so. Instead of seeing websites at the top of the search results, you're getting an answer written entirely by Google's AI. Now, I don't have to tell you, it's going to take a lot of traffic away from organic search results. But the question is, how does Google going to start making some more money? By advertising. Yes. This past week, Google gave us what we knew was coming. Now, when you get an AI-generated response, you're going to see shopping suggestions directly from Google based on the answer. So if you want to know how to bake a chicken, of course, you're going to get the recipe, but then Google's going to try to sell you the pan, the chicken, the oven, whatever it may be. Yes. Moving on to number 3, digital twins are coming. This is really interesting. Say you have something wrong with your health. Doctor says, all right, we want to try some medicine, but you may need surgery. And you're like, ooh, how do we know it's really even going to work? Now, I read this story in the Wall Street Journal. A team at Johns Hopkins University is now creating 3D digital models of hearts from real patients, and they have problems like irregular heartbeats, arrhythmia, and more. And this is what we're calling the digital twins. These 3D digital replicas, doctors can test how the patients are going to react to procedures and medicines without leaving it to chance. Wow, isn't this something? Right now, the researchers are starting small by building models of individual organs, like the hearts that I mentioned. But just imagine when everyone will have a 3D model of their body that they can just test out. This is the future. Moving on to number 4, although Waymo, the self-driving taxi company, probably is not operating in your city yet, your summer travel may take you to a city where they are. And here's why I'm not getting in one. When you do get in a Waymo or any other car, your life is in the driver's hands. But in a Waymo, you don't really have a driver, right? You have a computer, a self-driving car, and you can't really evaluate the algorithm to see how it's going to work. So Waymo is owned by Alphabet. Of course, that's Google's parent company. And what we know for sure is that all things being equal, Waymo is not as safe as driving with an experienced human driver. The feds are now actively investigating Waymo's security record. More than 20 crashes, driving on the wrong side of the street, hitting pedestrians. Self-driving cars are not ready for prime time, and Waymo appears to be unsafe at any speed. Just say no Waymo to Waymo. And this coming in at number 5, a sad story, but it's something I want you to think about as you go visit national parks this summer, and you think you're going to be like Kevin Costner in Yellowstone. It happened in Homer, Alaska. Dale Corman, he's a well-known photographer. And Dale had spotted a moose giving birth to calves, and it was thrilling for him. And he wanted to see the calves again, so he called his buddy a few days later after his spotting, and they went out looking for the calves. And that's when a horrible incident happened. Dale spotted the calves in the brush, inch closer to them. The cow moose came out of the brush and started to attack. The two men just tried to run away, but unfortunately, the moose caught up with Dale. Authorities at the scene said when they found Dale, they couldn't tell if he was kicked or stomped to death. So remember, it's called wildlife for a reason. All right, let's see. What do we have coming up? We're going to talk about how to turn your TV into a digital photo frame, how to get copies of military service records, awards, and medals. And of course, we have all of your phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, let's get started with Sarah in Portland, Oregon. Hi there, Sarah.
Well, I have a question about AirTags and tracking. And I don't mean things like tracking things. I mean tracking people. I suspect I have an AirTag on my keys, which was given to me by a family member, okay. And I asked for it, and it was very helpful in finding my keys. But months down the road, I was told, "Oh, I knew where you were because I was tracking you."
Oh, that's frightening, isn't it?
A little bit. So, but it was fine. It was a family member, and it was no big deal. And it was kind of nice to know that somebody could find me if I were in an accident or whatever. But a little bit further down the road, now we have a disjoint in the relationship. Okay. And so I suddenly started hearing the AirTag go off when I'm driving and there's no one else around, and I don't have Apple products, so it's not me. And then I get little hints along the way that, oh, I knew where you were because of so-and-so. So I highly suspect I am being tracked with the AirTag on my keys, which is no longer on my keys. But I want to know how those work and if I was just being paranoid or if the AirTag goes off for other reasons, how I would know.
All really good questions, right? Especially if you don't want to be tracked anymore by this person. So, What's going on? So now, when you get in the car, are you hearing like a weird chime? Is that it?
Yeah, it's the little chime, and that seems to me like the chime that went off when I was looking for my keys, and we found them.
Okay, so what it is so in your car somebody has placed an AirTag, okay, and so that person's AirTag is attached to their device, and so the AirTag is letting you know that you are being tracked. Now, there have been some recent changes to this. If you haven't already updated your Android-based phone to the latest version, make sure that you do that, because really, literally, within just the last week, Apple and Google got together and said, after 3 years, I think we need to solve this AirTag tracking problem. Because, of course, with an Apple AirTag, is that if you have an Apple phone, it will go ahead and say, this item has been detected with you. And so with Android, Google-based products, now Google says, okay, we're going to start alerting. Now, what you can do is Apple actually has an app in the Google Play Store called Tracker Detect. And it's made by Apple. So when you start looking for it, make sure that it says the developer is Apple. And so it says Tracker Detect. And then it will go ahead and try to find an AirTag and then let you know on an Android-based device that it's there. Now, a lot of people are giving it like really crappy reviews, and it's a crappy product, okay? Because unlike with an iPhone, is that you are automatically notified when an AirTag is there. With an Android-based phone, without this recent update, is that you'd have to use this app called Tracker Detect, and then it would take 10 minutes to find it. And you're like, okay, wow, this is a really long time. So, but if in fact you do hear that chime, you may not even need the app to tell you that it's there. It probably is there, especially if somebody's saying, hey, why were you at the Dollar General store last night when you said you were going to Costco or whatever it may be? And so now it's a matter of trying to find it in the car. And the only way to really do that is to keep listening for that sound.
Will an AirTag go off for any other reason? Because the AirTag is actually on my keys. I know where it is, but I did not know why it's going off, and I did not suspect I was being tracked until I started hearing it go off. Why is it going off? Well,
the AirTags are designed to make a sound when it's separated from the owner's device.
Okay.
So it's going to keep making those sounds. Basically, if you don't want to be tracked, you have to take the AirTag off. Now, if you are looking for a tracker that will go ahead and tell you where your keys are based on an Android, those are really wonderful things. Companies like Pebbletree, Motorola, Eufy, they make them, and you can find them on Amazon.
Yeah, and I've got one of those now. The AirTag is now sitting in my office, indicating I'm at work all the time.
Which, you know what, you are such a hard worker, Sarah, all the time. All the time you're working. I mean, but you bring up an interesting point, and I'm really glad that you took the time to call, because a lot of people, they're wondering like, well, how does this person know where I am all the time, and how do these work? It's pretty basic technology. But as I mentioned, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's been some major changes. So again, if you haven't automatically updated your iOS or Android-based device to the latest operating system, make sure that you do that now, because Apple and Google finally got together to solve this problem. Yes, finally. Okay, let me tell you a little bit more about this update. It's really super important. Now, if you have an iPhone running at least iOS 17.5, you may get an alert that says, item found moving with you, showing the AirTag serial number and the last 4 digits of the person's phone number who registered it. Now, Android folks, on version 6.0 or later, you're going to see tracker traveling with you alert. Just tap more info to get the scoop. And again, just some updates for you. So if you haven't updated your Android or your iOS device, make sure that you do that right now while you're thinking about it. Brad in Pensacola, Florida. Hi there, Brad.
Hey, I just wanted to know, is there a website out there that I can go to that would have all the different websites or places that I've signed up for that I could do is to either delete that my information on that site or update?
No. There isn't. Okay. I mean, there just is no such animal. There isn't. It's just, I know you're like, okay, well, thanks, Kim. No, I mean, there are things that you can do, but there's no like main repository that says, here is everything that Brad signed up for. So Brad, just check these boxes and we'll remove you from everything. No.
Well, I know Google Chrome, Google has where if you save all your passwords through there, you could do this. They would do is tell you if your password's been compromised
for sure.
and so forth.
For sure.
But I mean, that would do is listed if you've done it that way. But I was just checking to see if there's any other way to do it.
Unfortunately,
that way.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not. I mean, your easiest way is just to, like you mentioned, Google Chrome, whatever browser that you're using. You can look at all your saved passwords, and then it's pretty good idea that you probably have an account there. You could go through your email inbox for any type of email that you got in, a welcome email or any login information. The autofill data, as I mentioned in your browser, would probably show you also a list of websites that you have saved some credentials. But, as far as just, having one big website, I mean, here's an idea, folks. What do you think? Is this $1 million idea, Brad?
It could be.
It could be. I wouldn't want to have my money wrapped up in it. Just letting you know.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because, the whole browsing experience is going to change big time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
big time. I mean, if it's,
yeah,
AI is wiping out the web. It's just, it's really a remarkable time that we're in right now. Because I don't think a lot of people realize what's going on. I really don't.
Yeah, it's going to change drastically.
And it's going to happen very, very, very quickly. Traffic's down to websites, I don't know. Last stat I saw was like 60%. Whoa. It's a lot of decreasing advertising revenues, folks, right there. Brad, thanks for your call today. All right, coming up, we have more of your phone calls and more tips that you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim. All right, coming up, we have a tip about what not to do the next time you go out. And also later on, after all, it is Memorial Day weekend, how to get copies of military service records and awards and medals. And before we go back to all of your phone calls, ask any woman what she wants, and chances are she's going to say a Samsung frame. I mean, I thought I wanted one, but then I looked at it and I'm not. And here's why. Because before you whip out your credit card to come buy one, if you already have a smart TV, you can show off all your photos right now. You can turn that TV into this digital art display. It's really super easy. Just download the Apple Photos or Google Photos app onto your TV, depending upon where your pics are stored, of course. And then you choose slideshow mode. And then guess what? Your TV just shows off all your pictures. Now, there are specialty apps like Artcast that let you display classic and modern art from all these masters right on your TV. There's a free version, but if you're feeling super fancy, subscribe to a gallery pass for unlimited access to just thousands of famous artworks. Your living room just got a whole lot classier. And speaking of photos, let me tell you, I have a photographic memory. I don't know if you know that. I do. I have a photographic memory. I need to take a photograph to remember anything. I know. Hey, listen, aside from my show here, I host a podcast called Kim Komando Today. You're going to love it. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. But what's different about the show versus the podcast, Kim Komando Today, is on the podcast, I get to speak with some really interesting, fascinating people. Oh my gosh. This past week, I sat down and had a chat with Frank Abagnale. Now, Frank Abagnale is considered one of the world's most notorious con men. And some people say like, oh, we're not really sure he did everything that he did. Well, if you're not sure that he did everything that he did, but he was able to convince the world that he did all this, okay, then yeah, okay, he's pretty good at it. You might know him from his story from Steven Spielberg's film, Catch Me If You Can. That's where Leonardo DiCaprio portrayed him. During the 60s and 70s, Abagnale says he masqueraded as a Pan American Airlines pilot to get free flights. He was a doctor in Georgia for a year, a lawyer in Baton Rouge, and even a professor at Brigham Young University. So I was wondering, like, what would Frank do now that we have all this computer and all this tech? And is it harder or easier for him right now? And so here, take a listen. So did you ever foresee AI being used in scams?
No. As a matter of fact, the things that I did 50 years ago as a teenager today are 4,000 times easier when I did it 50 years ago. So I am surprised every day that if you had told me that 50 years ago, I would have said that's impossible. But technology has made many of the things I did so much easier to do today.
Is that right? Because I would think that it would be easier years ago because we didn't have all the checks and balances and computer databases.
Right. And back then, they wouldn't have all the technology that we have today to catch you.
Well, for a quick example is when I printed checks years ago, you saw in the movie, that took $1 million printing press. And there were color separations and negatives and plates and typesetting and a lot of time and skill. Today, you just open your laptop, you put a design of a very sophisticated check up on your screen. You go to some corporate website, you capture their logo, you put it on the check, and then you basically design this perfect check online in about 15 minutes. But 50 years ago, you would have said to me, so Frank, how do you know Pan Am's bank account? I don't know. I'm just using a bunch of numbers. Well, how do you know where they bank? I don't know that. I just make up a bank's name. Well, finally, how do you know who the authorized signer of Pan Am checks are? I have no idea. So I just put Jack Smith. But today we live in a too much information world. So if I just called the company and I asked to speak to someone in accounts receivables and tell them I'd like to pay an invoice and would like to wire them the funds, they tell me where they bank, their account number, their routing number. And if I call back and ask to speak to someone in corporate communications and ask for a copy of their annual report, they'll send it to me. But on page 3 is a signature of the chairman of the board, the CEO, the CFO, the treasurer, the controller. White glossy paper, black ink, camera ready art. So today it takes 15 minutes, what used to take hours and hours years ago. And I would say this is the same when it comes to social engineering. When I did it at 16, of course, I didn't know I was social engineering anybody, but I basically called Pan Am, said that I was a pilot and I was on layover in New York and I'd sent my uniform out to be dry cleaned, and now the cleaner in the hotel couldn't find it. And I needed to get a uniform because I had a flight in 6 or 7 hours. He told me immediately where to go, what to sign, what forms I needed, who to see. But back in those days, there was only one form of communication, and that was a telephone. Today, of course, there's emails, text messages, the internet. So social engineering has become a lot easier even today.
You know what? That's an interesting angle on that, Frank, because I really would have thought it would have been so much easier in the past because we didn't have all the checks and balances. You know, the thing that really concerns me is when we start talking about AI, are all the deep fakes and how a scammer can, like, I'm sure you heard the story. It happened in Europe where some CFO got a phone call from somebody who said, hi, I'm the CEO. I need you to transfer $250,000, $1 million. And it actually sounded like his boss. And it's not like you're going to say to your boss, okay, are you sure you want to do that?
As you know, about 2 months ago, CNN reported that in Hong Kong, there was a multinational company, and supposedly they got an email from the CEO to the accounting department. He was located at different headquarters. He said, I need to have a meeting in the boardroom at 1:00. So the accounting staff went down there. The big screen came on. There was the CEO and the CFO. They spent about 30 minutes explaining that they were getting ready to buy a new company and they needed to set aside $25 million, and told them to move that money to this account. They did, only to find out that was all AI, but it was their picture, their voice. I mean, it looked very real to them.
So if 16-year-old Frank was 16 in 2024 instead of back in the 60s, would you, and you still wanted to con people, would you look at all the technology and still want to write bad and fake checks? Or how do you think you would do it?
That's a good question.
I think, first of all, it would be amazing the checks I could create with AI. It would also be amazing all the identification. I mean, back when I made up a phony Pan Am ID, this was all pasting letters and putting pictures and then putting it in a plastic card.
Did you really take the toy plane and put it in the tub so that you could pull off the logo? You really did that?
Off to put the decal on there.
That's insane. That's insane.
Which looked very awesome for back then. But also I realized the uniform is what sold it. It wasn't anything. They saw the uniform. They paid no attention to me. They paid no attention to the check. They only saw the image in the uniform. And I realized the power of the uniform very early on. But think about today that I can replicate passports. I can replicate any kind of credentials. I can replicate them online or offline. So I think we're just at the very, very threshold of AI, and all the things that people can do with it are really limited only to the criminal's imagination. I believe that technology breeds crime. It always has, and it always will. And there will always be people who use technology in a negative, self-serving way. So they're going to take this technology and find all these different ways they can use it in order to help themselves to other people's money.
You can hear our entire chat, Kim Komando Today, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch the entire interview, of course, over at youtube.com/Kim Komando. All right, if you're going out this weekend, I want you to be super careful because there's a new scam in the midst. Somebody sits down next to you and they say, oh, really like you, start chit-chatting, maybe we should exchange our digits and, whatever that may be. And then you open your phone. As soon as you open your phone with your passcode, they swipe your phone and then they run out the door. That's it. Okay. They just made at least $1,000. So make sure that you're always using facial ID on your phone instead of passcodes, because that's just the smarter thing to do. And if somebody asks you to open your phone, you don't know them, just don't do it. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as later on how to get copies of military service records, awards, and medals here on the Kim Komando Show. Don in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hi there.
Well, first of all, I'm starstruck. I hope I'll get through this.
Don't be starstruck. It's just me and you and, I don't know, 6 million other people.
I'm such a fan, and I use your tips. I love your newsletter, and I even tell your jokes. And sometimes people laugh. I think it's quite funny.
Sometimes. I like the guy like that. I know.
I can't say all the time. But anyway, I'm a college professor, and I'm kind of a member of an informal group of employees and professors who we sort of like to chat about the issues online. And we use email to do it, which I think is very, very clunky. If someone wants to start a discussion, they'll just look for the last email and they'll just hit reply all.
Yeah.
And they'll just reply to everybody. Of course, the email chains get really, really long, and it's also hard to add someone. Someone's got to remember, I got to add another email when someone else joins the group. So I'm wondering if there's a good service other than, like Facebook groups and all that we could use, and maybe would even notify people when someone's posted something.
Yeah, you want to get it out of email. You do.
Yeah.
Because it's, I love email. Don't get me wrong. I mean, because of my email newsletter, I send out millions and millions of emails every single month. With 500,000 daily subscribers, you can do the math, right? And it's been a profitable business for us. But when it comes time to actually do discussions, I don't think it's the right vehicle for it anymore.
Yeah, we realize.
Because it takes too long. It takes too long, right? You want instantaneous now. And one of the things that we use here at the studios is Google Chat. And as a matter of fact, we have a relatively new employee, and this morning she was in my office and she's like, She goes, I was going to send it to you an email, but I know you hate email, so I'll chat at you. I'm like, yes, because it just takes so long. I got to put a subject. Hi, Kim. How are you? Hope you're well. Whatever it may be, because you don't want to come across rude, and especially if you guys are trying to have a discussion, it just doesn't always work. If you don't want to use you don't want to use Facebook groups, of course you can use a private group there. You can use Google Chat, but that would require everybody to have a Google account. Maybe they don't. Have you ever looked at Discord?
Well, I haven't looked at anything. That's why I'm coming.
Oh, okay.
To you.
Okay. Well, look at Discord. It was originally put out there for gamers, but it has the notifications. You can do direct messaging, and you can set up various groups. Okay. The another one that, aside from Google Chat, you could use Microsoft Teams. You could use Slack. You could also set up a Google group, which might be, probably better than Google Chat. Set up a Google group. But if I were to do this, I probably would start with Google because pretty much everybody has a Gmail account now, right? And with Google Groups, you do get the notifications, and it's kind of an email base, super easy to set up. You could do that. But if you're really looking for real-time communication, that's where I'm going to point you in the direction of Discord.
Okay.
And try that. And if that doesn't work, there's always other recommendations.
How do you feel about the privacy aspect of it? Do you think Big Brother's looking at what we're saying? Because I will say that some of the things we might be discussing are sensitive matters on campuses and all. We don't want people monitoring it.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough call. It's because, as you know, with Google, they're keeping track of everything, right?
Yeah.
And you could go to Microsoft Teams, but then that's Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
You could go to Slack, and that's Slack. So it's and a lot of these are free, and so they're free because what? They are tracking, and that's how they pay their bills. You can get into, if you do pay, you can get into some encryption, which might be beneficial for you. Then you're going to pay between $6 and, I don't know if people want to pay. For some reason, you ask people to pay, and they're like, what? Oh, that's $6 a month. And I'm like, yeah, but you went to Starbucks twice this week, and that was $25, so.
Yeah, but, there's about 25 of us. We'd never get everybody to do that. People would just prefer the email over that. But,
yes, and so it might be, keep in mind that if it is in a group, somebody can screenshot anything. I guess they could screenshot an email too.
Yeah.
And so, but it really, it's kind of been a tough thing. I mean, if you really wanted to actually get into maybe a more secure way, you could also do this with Telegram.
And
that probably would be if you are looking for group chats that are encrypted.
Okay.
I would look at Telegram, or you could even use Signal. Both of them, would work pretty well, and it would give you some semblance of protection, as far as if you are saying things that are sensitive. You don't want it to maybe get back to the university, but just keep in mind, anything that you do, somebody can always take a screenshot and then send that anonymously off, and there goes everything that you were trying to protect. I know I just gave you a ton of recommendations. Sorry about that. I normally like to give one or two. Telegram or Signal for the encryption and the anonymity. If you're looking for something that's easy to use and just to get it out there, Discord or Google. And again, you got Teams and Slack, but probably Discord or Google would be my next choice. Telegram, Signal up at the top, again, for those encryption. And thank you for your kind words, Don. Oh, I'm your fan too. Okay, it's Memorial Day weekend, and you might be wondering, how to get copies of military service records, awards, and medals. Well, I've got that scoop still to come here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure that you enter to win a brand new iPhone 15. Head to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. Winfromkim.com. All right, Memorial Day, of course, is the day set aside for us to remember and honor those who have served. And recognition from the U.S. military, like medals and decorations and awards, are historical and priceless family heirlooms. And typically they're handed down to other family members generation to generation. But like anything else, they can be misplaced and lost and stolen or simply show their age over time. Now, the U.S. military offers replacement medals, decorations, and awards available to decorated veterans and their families. I had to get my dad's old medals back, and it's really something when you got them in the mail. Don't mean to choke up on you now, but it's holds a special place with me in my heart. I know it does with you. So head to the National Archives website and look for the Veterans Service Records at archives.gov. That's archives.gov. That's the National Archives website. Again, there's a tab right at the top that says Veterans Service Records. Hey, listen, thanks for joining me on this big Memorial Day weekend. And say a silent thank you to someone in your family or friends for their service to our country.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's hour 2.
I always like to kick things off with something fun and super interesting, and college graduations are in full swing, and so are job interviews for the Gen Zers. With the slowdown in hiring and then a job market flooded, according to a new survey, you're not going to believe this, 1 in 4 Gen Zers have brought their mother or their father to a job interview. Could you imagine that? Oh my gosh. That's right. A quarter of them had their parents submit job applications for them. You know, that happened once to me here. That we had somebody show up for, I think it was some job in the studio here. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He actually brought his mother. And I was like, and I remember Amber coming in like, he has his mom with him. Like, you know what? I'm not interviewing him. I mean, if you can't show up to a job interview without your mother or father, I don't really think that this is probably the place for you. Not at all. We are self-starters here at the Kim Komando Show because, after all, every single thing is now a tech thing. And I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts. That's right, because that's what we do here week after week, day after day. And also in our free newsletters that you should sign up for right now over at getkim.com, because you can find the Kim Komando Show on over 420 top stations from coast to coast. We're streaming in your favorite radio app, and you can also find us as a commercial-free podcast. That's right, the Kim Komando Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or as perk of your membership inside the Komando community. And a special shout out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women. Now, I want to tell you that great sponsors help to make this show possible. And we give out a lot of different web addresses. I know that because we have all these wonderful sponsors. Now, if you're ever wondering, like, where do I go for that particular deal? Go to komando.com/sponsors. That's komando.com/sponsors. I will tell you that I ask every single one of our advertisers to give us an exclusive deal that you're not going to find anywhere else. Again, komando.com/sponsors. All right. Every single day, 7 days a week, I go through this list of bookmarks in my browser from site to site, and I look at exactly what's going on in the tech world. Anything from mainstream news sites to reading white papers over at Harvard, whatever it may be. Now, here are the top 5 things you need to know that's happening in tech right now. We're going to start with cutting the cable. Do you remember when you cut the cable and you're like, the reason why I'm cutting the cable is because I'm getting all these channels and I have to pay for all this stuff that I don't watch anyway? That was called bundling. Okay. So we cut the cable, went over to streaming. And guess what's happening? Oh my gosh, bundling is back because the streamers are having a lot of churn. What that means is that you sign up for a service, you watch what you want to watch, then you cancel it, and then you sign up for a new service. So now bundling is coming to streaming services. Like, for example, Disney Plus, Hulu, and Discovery will now be sold together. Comcast is bundling Peacock, Netflix, and Apple Plus. If you want to just buy one, you actually have to buy all 3 if you get it from that provider. So the plan is that you buy all these bundles, and it's going to be cost you less money than if you were to buy them all separately. So Comcast is a combined $25. So what they're thinking is that hopefully if you have all 3, the churn is going to be lower. Moving on to number 2, Sam Altman must really love that movie, Her. Why? Because, well, AI rolled out ChatGPT for Omni. That's what the O stands for. And the AI voice really sounds like her. And you see your smartphone's camera and microphone serves as the AI's eyes and ears, and it reads your facial expressions and voice tone. And I'll tell you, it really does this. I mean, I had it open on my phone. Barry came blowing in the house, and he started, I don't know, complaining about something. And then out of my phone, you hear this voice say, "Oh, you sound very frustrated." But back to Scarlett Johansson. This is Sky, the name of one of the voices that OpenAI uses for its voice assistant. Take a listen.
The announcement is about me? Well, color me intrigued. Are you about to reveal something about AI? Or more specifically about me as a part of OpenAI?
So OpenAI had to take the voice down because Scarlett Johansson started, I guess you'd say, lawyering up. Yeah, she hired up legal counsel. And then OpenAI says, no, we didn't really even want Scarlett Johansson. So they're going to solve all this in the courts, and I'm sure it's going to require some money. Moving on to number 3, we're going to talk about 3 Apple updates. Number 1, if you ever get a car stick trying to text or read something on your phone, well, here Apple says they fixed it. They got something called vehicle motion cues that puts animated dots on the edges of the screen moving in sync with the car. Now, this is supposed to fool your brain, settle your stomach so you don't get car sick. It's coming out later on this year. What about old iPhones? Apple's offering a higher trade-in credit with them until June 3rd, but only if you're buying an iPhone 15 in store. Sounds like a great deal, but you know what's happening in just a few weeks is that they're going to be rolling out iOS 18, which means they're going to be rolling out the iPhone 16 in September. So they're trying to get rid of old inventory. And rumor is that the iPhone 16 isn't just going to be an iPhone, it's going to be an iPhone. And if you have an iPhone, make sure that you're on iOS 17.5.1. Why? Because if you deleted any old pictures, they came back, including your nudes. And so now people are saying, like, how did they come back if we deleted them? Apple's going to have to answer that. Moving on to number 4, Tesla. If you're wondering if all the negative news stories about Tesla are affecting the company, it's really worse than anybody could have ever predicted. Okay. Now, people are concerned about Tesla. We're not talking about SpaceX and Starlink because those are incredible successes for Elon Musk. The problem with Tesla is the car. Endless news stories about federal investigations about the autopilot, fires, deaths, injuries from accidents. Tesla's claim that the autopilot was safe, but it's not. The high cost of replacing batteries. The impossibility of taking Tesla on a long road trip because the charging stations are too hard to find and it takes too long to charge. Listen to this. 3 years ago, Tesla's overall image was ranked 8th in the top 100 companies. Do you know what that number is right now? 63. Finally, this coming in at number 5. Oh, yes, it's the big holiday weekend. Maybe you want to start thinking about a real long trip, a bona fide 10-day summer vacation. You want to go to Italy, or you want to, I don't know, go to all the national parks, whatever it may be. You want to go to France. You want to go to the UK. You want to go to Japan. Over a dozen companies are now offering a different type of vacation, watching tornadoes. That's right. Storm chasing tours in the United States steadily increasing over the past few years. You drive as far south as Texas, as far north as the Canadian border. Costs anywhere from like $2,000 to $4,500. You're going to use a lot of tech. I would love to do this. We're talking about Doppler radars, weather stations, barometers, lightning detectors, drones. Oh, I was going to tell you a joke about a tornado, but it's a real tongue twister. All right, coming up, talk about the best ways to track down monthly subscriptions, super secret menu on your TV, and of course, we have all of your phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. Hey, how'd you like to win a brand new iPhone 15? Head to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. How about we start with Doug in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Hey there, Doug.
So I've got a company problem.
Okay.
About 6 months ago, I started getting calls, and when I say our company's small enough that I use my cell phone for our company main number, and some people were calling, and they were complaining about a charge of about $30. Well, this has become rampant now. We get 3 to 6 a week. And I've called FBI, I've called my local authorities, Better Business Bureau, I've even reached out to our attorney, and basically they say, nothing you can do, somebody's got a hold of your company name, they're using it on the credit card, and they've stolen credit card numbers or something, they're charging these people random charges, and it's usually about $30 And once in a while, people will mention something about knee pads. I ordered knee pads, and that's not what I didn't get anything from you. I'm like, we're a livestock comfort company, and so no, this is nothing to do with whatever you're thinking. So basically fraudulent activity, and they've grabbed our company name, and I'm getting way too many calls, and I just don't know how to stop it. I've looked at merchant services to see if that's a problem. We use credit card. Last we used a credit card for our company was 2 years ago. Both those accounts are closed. So we have no credit card processors. I can't figure out where this is coming from.
So basically, you have some scam outfit impersonating your business.
Bingo.
To accept payments. All right. We had this happen to us once.
Did you?
Yeah. It was so annoying because especially I'm the brand, right? It's like.
Exactly.
It's like, Mom, apple pie. I go to church every week. I'm not going to scam you out of, $24. I think mine was $24.99.
And everybody's nice about it. And they're like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry for you too. It's just, it's unfortunate for everybody.
For sure. Let me just give you some basic steps. I know you probably went to, the Internet Crime Complaint Center. You did that too, right? Didn't you?
Yeah,
okay.
I tried to file an IC3.gov,
right,
and it's just pretty much for victims, so I recommend those people do it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
By the time they get through that, I'm guessing they're not doing it because it's a pretty long form.
It is, and sometimes the local FBI office can help too. Your first step is to set up a Google alert. Do you know how to do those?
I don't.
Okay. So just in the search bar, just type in Google Alert and it will pop. I think it might even be like alerts.google.com or google.com/alerts. Basically, what you're going to do is type in the name of your business and do like different iterations. Okay.
Yep.
And then anytime that your company name is mentioned on the web, you're going to get a notification. And so the whole idea is that if they have fired up a website, sell knee pads overnight, and then they're going to process all these credit cards and then take it down the next day, at least you'll have a website where then you can go back to the authorities and say, here's an example. Maybe you guys can follow these digital clues and shut these people down. I don't know if it's going to work, but at least it gives you a heads up that's going on. Now, companies like Experian and Equifax, they also sell not just consumer identity theft, but they sell business identity theft. And so they will alert you, but they will also help you take it down. On your website, I was put up a public statement saying this is what's going on. We have nothing to do with knee pads. The whole idea is that if somebody searches your company name, that they're going to get this statement right at the top.
Yeah, and we thought about that, but that's just about, I don't know, that's not the best exposure either, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, it's just that somebody's going to Google your company name to see if it's legit. Then you're going to stop this. The people that are calling in, as you mentioned, they're all very nice, which means they can actually help you. So maybe what you want to do is also on your website is give steps to do. Here's what happened. Here's a form letter that you can use for your credit card processor. And so the whole idea is that we can get a whole bunch of people all together so that this way we can make it stop. The way that we made it stop was through, I did the Google Alerts. I did sign up for the business identity theft, but I also went to the top of MasterCard, Visa, Discovery, and American Express and said, you're hurting my reputation. You're hurting my brand. And right now, you know what? They're causing you anguish and they're costing you money because they're costing you time. So
that's exactly what I was thinking. And you had success with that? How did you get in, though, to that level?
You know what? You're going to love this. In the newsletter, probably about 2 or 3 days ago, I put a link under the tech upgrades. And I said, you ought to bookmark this site right now. So if you search for in your email, just say bookmark this site, it'll probably pop up. Because the reason why is that there's this website, Elliott.org, ELLIOTT.org. They have company contacts. And when I'm talking about company contacts, I'm not talking about customer service at United.com. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay. No. Okay. I'm talking about the chief customer officer is Calum Lamy at British Airways. And Ian Blackman is the vice president of airports for the Eastern United States. Renee DeCrute is the chief operating officer. Oh, by the way, here's his personal email address. Oh, maybe even a phone number. So that's why I put that in the news. I'm like, you should bookmark this right now because at some point you're going to need to have this information. But again, it's that I gave you the site. It's Elliott.org. But if you want a direct link rather, it was in the newsletter just a couple of days. So I know it's a lot of work.
Just bragging about your newsletters, and apparently I didn't read that one.
Oh, I know. What was going on, dude?
I don't know.
Come on.
Busy week.
So, if you need any help afterwards, I'm here for you. But I think you are on the right path. And, folks, where this is coming from is that you're going to a really small, illegitimate website, or you're buying something off of a Facebook or social media ad. Stop that. Stop it. It's probably not legit. All right. If you want to go camping this summer, I know you're going to be faced with all these campsites that say, like, we're just fully booked. Well, there are some ways around this. There's a website and app called CampFlare. It scans national parks and state parks and national forests for cancellations every 45 seconds. There's also Camp Scanner. It works pretty much the same way. Keeps tabs on cancellations listed at recreation.gov. So if you still want to get a campsite, you want to snag one for the summer, again, you want to go to Camp Scanner or CampFlare. Now, of course, they're going to charge you for this. It's about $79 a year. Some of these updates are every 5 minutes on 15 prime locations. You're really something. All right, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls and more tips and great secrets that you never want to miss here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up, we have the best ways to track down those monthly subscription costs. You don't want to miss that. And before we get back to all of your phone calls, and I have a really sweet interview to share with you, if you can't get your TV screen just looking quite right, here's a really great tip that I'll bet you don't know about. See, a lot of TVs now have what's called a secret service menu. Yeah, I know, you're going to love that. You can tweak advanced settings and features. So here's how you do it. You turn on your TV, you press the menu button on the remote. Then you go to the settings, or sometimes it says advanced settings. Now the important part. You have to press these buttons in the exact order. Mute 1, 8, 2, power. Again, mute 1, 8, 2, power. That's what you do right there. Then it brings up this service menu. Now I want you to be super careful. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You're going to adjust the picture quality, the color calibration, sound settings, and other advanced features. Once again, that's mute 1, 8, 2, power. Alrighty, though, aside from the show here, I also host a wildly popular podcast called Kim Komando Today that you can get in your favorite podcast player. And you can also watch us do the video live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11:30 a.m. That specific time, but you can always get it on demand too. But it gives me a chance to sit down and really talk to some super interesting folks like Jeff Johnson. Jeff Johnson has a channel called The Trek Planner. He has millions and millions of views, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. Now, here's the reason why. Jeff uncovers and explores ancient ruins, primarily in the Southwest, but all around the world. Now, these are things that you're not going to find on Google Maps, and he's incredibly engaging, super interesting. Here, take a listen. So, how would you define your YouTube channel to everybody?
I would say very amateur archaeology, exploration, drone videos, hiking, something along those lines.
And so how did you come up with this idea? Because it's so unique.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time. Even before I had a YouTube channel or a following on YouTube, I've been doing this for a long time just on my own and publishing stuff on my own website. And then I kind of transitioned to YouTube where I had only about 300 subscribers back then. And then I just kind of would say stuff like, I found this on satellite photos. But as of last year, I kind of changed that to, I found something on Google Earth, and I just kind of went with that. So that's kind of what happened the last year and a half or so since taking off. My channel's taken off.
So now walk us through the process. Do you just like throw a dart and randomly start searching somewhere on Google Earth to see if you see an old building?
Yeah, sometimes it really is like that. Sometimes I'm just like, where do I want to explore? And I have the whole Earth. I mean, I have stuff in the United States, down in Central America, over in Africa. Like I have stuff all over the place. But
Wow.
My general interest is like the American Southwest. And so I'll just kind of pick an area. It really is just like that. Pick an area and then zoom in on Google Earth and just kind of go around. I can't tell you all my secrets, of course.
Fair enough.
But I just kind of zoom in and just kind of find something that looks interesting and then mark it just with like a little pin. And I have a color scale. So if it's like a yellow or a green, it means it's not very interesting. But if it's like a red or a purple, that means it's like I'm 80% sure that something is there that is worth going out and exploring.
So what are like some highlights? What are some like really great things that you found that you were even astounded at it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So one of my favorites is something I found, I think last year. It's like the circle on top of a boulder. And I knew it was something man-made because perfect circles on top of boulders just seems very unnatural to me. And so
either man or alien, it's got to be one of those two.
True. Very true. So I went out there thinking that, aliens are, man-made. And I go out there and do this long hike and I could see in the distance and I could see like this little kind of line on top of this boulder. And I was like, well, a very straight line on top of this, kind of, jaggedy looking boulder. And I just knew there was something on top of it that was man-made. And as I got closer, I could see the little stacked rocks, which indicate to me a ruin. And then that's when I got my drone out. And that to me was just such an incredible find because I think just the area it was in is just beautiful too. But I couldn't get up there. So it's like still a mystery, even though I flew my drone, but I couldn't get up there. And just imagining like who was up there, why they were there and what they were doing it's just so exciting to me.
Have you ever found something and gotten to a place, Jeff, where you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't be here? Like it was dangerous for you to be there?
Yeah. So there's a couple times in my videos that I talk about this because it requires, usually I'm out there by myself. And so if I come to a situation like that and my gut or, those instincts are saying, don't do this, then I don't do it. And that's where the drone comes in because it's like, we still win, we still get to kind of explore, but a personal visit is maybe too dangerous, or maybe I'm just, not feeling it right then and there.
For sure.
But there's a couple times for sure. Even in my last, I think it's 2 videos ago or 3 videos ago where I'm just like, I'm not feeling this, or maybe it was a month ago, whenever it was. But sometimes I just don't do it because I just don't feel safe or comfortable or something seems off.
How about one of your misses? Like you see something, you're like, I know that this is a ruin. This is something ancient. And you show up and it's an abandoned 1997 Volkswagen Fahrvergnügen.
Yeah.
With a McDonald's cup.
Yeah, I would love to find that still. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. And I'm trying to figure out if I should make a video to kind of show the realities of this type of thing. But I thought for sure it was a ruin just because of how it was laid out. And I get up there and there's nothing there. Like there's no rocks or anything. But come to find out, this just how the cliff and the overhang was and the shadow, it looked like there's a straight edge and it turned.
And it was all shadow.
Yep, it was all shadow. So it was really just, I didn't get there and I'm like, oh.
Now, do you still make a video of that? Do you still put that miss on your YouTube channel?
I'm thinking about doing it.
Okay.
You know what? I think you should. It's kind of like, it kind of makes you human, It's
I should. Yeah.
I
think I will.
So now, do people like submit ideas for you? Like, Jeff, you ought to go here.
Yeah, I found this on Google Maps. Go check it out.
All the time. Yeah, I get so many requests and ideas and things. And I've even done some videos from those requests too. But it's mostly just my searches and finds. But I mean, every day I get something from somebody, which I'm very appreciative and very grateful to those people.
Now you can hear my entire chat with Jeff, as well as, get the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. That's Kim Komando Today, wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Komando with a K, of course. And just a reminder that you can watch Kim Komando Today on YouTube. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. Oh, and by the way, while you're there, make sure that you check out our Yacht Rock playlist. Just perfect for the summer. I put together about 60 tunes for you. You can just let it play in the background. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. All right. I'm sure you have all these subscriptions that you signed up for and you're paying for them. And you're like, I have no idea how many I have. Okay, here's what you do. Number 1, go to your credit card account online, and that's where you can sort your transactions by date, amount, and company. Scan and look for any subscriptions that you're no longer using, and you just cancel them. On Android, I want you to make sure you go to the Play Store, tap on your profile and payment, and then subscriptions. On your iPhone or iPad, go into settings again, and then subscriptions. Don't forget your Amazon account because you may have signed up for some things there. Now, we do have a podcast sponsor by the name of Rocket Money. So if you go to rocketmoney.com/Kim, is that they will help you get rid of your subscriptions too. I actually used it and I saved $450 a year. Oh, so embarrassing that I had that many subscriptions out there I didn't know that I was paying for. Okay. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/Kim. All right. Still to come, we have more of your phone calls you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. Teresa in Lincoln, Nebraska.
A month or so ago, you had a speaker on about the dark web. Mm-hmm. And I am wondering, how do I find out if any of my information is on the dark web and how to remove it?
Well, Teresa, I will say with all certainty that there is some piece of your personal information available for sale right now on the dark web. Because there's my information on the dark web. There's everybody who you know has information on the dark web. And so the question is, can you remove it off the dark web? No, you can't. You can't. You can find out if it is on the dark web. There's a website called haveibeenpwned.com. Basically, it's just going to tell you that you're going to put in some email addresses. It's going to tell you whether or not that email address and some passwords are for sale. But with all the different data breaches, I mean, doesn't it seem like every other day there's a different data breach, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and where does all that data go? It goes for sale on the dark web. And it's what do they want to buy? Well, they buy your name, of course, your address, any type of information about you, where you work, how much money you make, your date of birth, medical ID, social security number. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so the whole idea is that people can buy all this information, then they can impersonate you, and then they can steal from you and your credit card details and all that other stuff. So that's why, is it possible for you to go on the dark web and see everything and then remove it? The answer is unfortunately no. Okay. Certain services like keepersecurity.com, which is the password manager that is a sponsor of the show I recommend, they will actually alert you if your password's for sale on the dark web. So, so this way to change it. And it will also change your password for you automatically. A lot of browsers will alert you to that too. But it really comes into protecting your personal information more so than how to remove myself off the dark web. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does.
Okay. And so how do you do that? Well, we don't use the same password every single place, right? If we go places and they ask for our social security number, you say, why do you really need that? I mean, you take your kid to the doctor, the pediatrician wants your social or the kid's social, and you're like, I don't know why you need that. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, well, you know what? If you don't want to give it, don't give it to us. Monitor all your credit cards and, put on those alerts on your bank so that if you get an automatic deposit of $1 or 10 cents, that you get an alert. If there's a charge over $50, you get an alert. If there's a charge on your credit card and that you were not there with the credit card or it's over $500, you get an alert. So, and it's being conscious. Don't use the debit card at all if you can avoid it. Just get rid of a debit card because that's how they just wipe out all your savings. So it's really becoming more of a consumer conscious. Freeze your credit. Do you know how to do that?
No.
Okay. So there are so many tips on my site on how to freeze your credit. That's really most important. So that if somebody tries to get credit in your name, that they're denied. Unless you open up your credit for that particular transaction or that particular inquiry. So do you get our free newsletter?
Yes, I do.
Do you love it?
I do love it.
Ah, yes. Love that. Another satisfied customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some links over the next couple of days about how you can freeze your credit, because that's really what the answer is, and to be just a really conscious digital life consumer nowadays. But again, if you want to see if your email address and passwords are on the dark web, you can go to haveibeenpwned.com. Once again, that's haveibeenpwned.com. All right, James in Nashville, Tennessee, you're up next.
I'm a member of a classic car club.
Awesome. What kind of cars?
Well, they range anywhere from some of them go back to the brass era. and our club basically says anything that's older than 25 years is classic. In fact, I think you have a classic.
Yeah, I've got quite a few classics. I have a 64 and a half Mustang. That's a classic, right?
Yes.
We have a 1954 Corvette. Classic.
Nice. Okay.
A 1946 Chevy pickup truck. Classic.
You need to join our club.
Okay. And I'm also a classic. I'm over 25. Okay. So, so we're all classic here.
Great. So when we have an event, we've been using an iPad with Bluetooth speakers to kind of, play background music, that type of thing. And I'm wondering if there's a way that I could use a Bluetooth microphone with that configuration so we could use it as sort of a mini PA system.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? So are you holding these events like in parking lots, like Cars and Coffee, stuff like that?
We do that, and some are in restaurants. Some are, we do like a weekly or a monthly meeting in a restaurant. We're doing kind of an annual event that's going to be more in a little bit bigger space coming up. Mm-hmm. That's really what I'm interested in right now. But yes, they can be in parking lots, yes.
Okay. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to get a great USB wireless mic, okay? And what's really wonderful is that, I don't know if you remember, but wireless mics, they used to be super expensive. They used to be like $400 or $500, maybe even $1,000, depending upon what kind of capabilities that you need. But now you can find a decent wireless mic that will work with your iPad for about $45. Okay. So we're going to have that mic, and then you're going to use a special app that you're going to put on the iPad, and it's called Megaphone Pro. Okay. Megaphone Pro, it's $5. You can swing it. I know you can.
I think we can handle that one.
Because so many people are like, oh, I really wanted a free app. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's $5. Okay. Okay. And so the Megaphone Pro, it lets you play all your music, and then it will also stream your voice along with it. So you can also play with the volume of your voice and the volume of the music. And so why don't you hang on the line? And Amber, our lovely and talented call screener, she does so many things here in the studios, but today she's our call screener, is we're going to send you out a link to both the Lightning port USB-C wireless mic that you will use with your iPad, and then we'll give you a direct link to that app, Megaphone Pro. And if you're just sitting there saying, oh my gosh, Kim Komando, I need this info too, make sure that you sign up for our free newsletter. Head over to getkim.com, because we'll go ahead and post links to these in that as well. And by the way, my free newsletter, oh my gosh, 500,000 people love it every single day, and you will too. I checked this morning. We had 223,000 thumbs up. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Gosh, if you build it, they will come and they will stay as long as it's great. And it is. So many great phone calls. Hey, still to come, just a few words about Memorial Day you don't want to miss. Okay, Memorial Day, the unofficial first day of summer. So many things on sale. Make sure that you get our free newsletter over at getkim.com, because we have a list of all the best deals on Amazon, from the Fire Sticks to Apple Watches, Ring doorbells, OLED screens, and more. But I want you to remember that this is the day that we set aside. It goes all the way back to the Civil War to honor all of those who have died in our military services, just fighting for freedom and fighting for us. So I want you to enjoy the sales, have fun with your family members and friends, and cooks-outs, and go to the beach and all that great stuff. Fly your flag. I want you to take a moment to just say a quiet thank you for those who have lost their lives for all of us.
Here's hour 3.
All right, let's start with a little fun fact. How many minutes does the average American spend on TikTok every single day? How many minutes per day? Take a guess. Take a guess. You're wrong. 95 minutes. And that number is going to be going up as TikTok is going to be rolling out new videos, 60 minutes. Wow. Could you imagine? Not just 95 minutes scrolling, but now 60 minutes. I don't know if it's going to work out, because, people go to TikTok because you have these short little videos. I don't know if we're going to sit there and for 60 minutes looking at something, but I don't know. There are probably going to be a good, healthy percentage of our population who will be doing that for sure. Speaking of TikTok, my next door neighbor, she's 83 years old, and she has her own TikTok channel where she's been posting all of her recipes and videos and good things like that. And now she's so big that she's going on OnlyNans. I crack myself up sometimes. All right, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. Isn't it just crazy? I'm, of course, Kim Komando, America's digital goddess, here with you once more. It's the biggest show, the most trusted show. It's just the award-winning show in over 420 top stations across the United States. We're also streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can find us as a commercial-free podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as a perk of your Komando membership. And a big hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. Now, throughout the show, I give out the names of some great sponsors. And I know that there are all these different addresses, and it's not my intention to confuse you. So I want to make things easy. So if you're looking for exclusive deals from any of our advertisers, any of our sponsors, just head to komando.com/sponsors. That's komando.com/sponsors. Alrighty then, you can count on me to visit at least 35 to 40 different websites every single day. This is not AI. This is Kim AI. Yes, Komando AI inside my brain. And here are the top 5 things you need to know that's happening right now. And we're going to start with facial ID. Yes, we've been used to paying things right now by just tapping our phones or credit cards at checkout. But what is the next step in identification? Biometrics, my dear. Yes, that's right. But nobody wants to do a fingerprint. So all the big credit card companies and banks, they've got together and say, all right, we know what we need to do. Facial recognition, facial ID. Okay, the banks believe that facial recognition is not invasive. Why? Because we carry all of our faces with us out in the open wherever we go. So raising a privacy issue about this is going to be super hard. Now, the ones most open to facial recognition are the Gen Zers. Millennials will come along, the boomers will be slower, and also the Gen Xers. But of course, with inflation rampant, facial ID or not, it does feel a little invasive, right? Moving on to number 2, hallucinations, and what happens if you start using it? Well, here's the deal. AI, when it doesn't know the answer, they're not completely sure about the answer, it will just hallucinate, make things up. Like initially, ChatGPT said that my name was Kimber M. Tomley. I'm like, what? No, I'm Kim Komando. I was born Kim Komando. Made this whole thing up. It's just crazy. Now, but what if you use this information and it leads into a legal problem? Who is responsible for that? Now, I'm not an attorney, but it doesn't take an attorney's knowledge and degree to understand the possibility that an AI hallucination, complete with authentic sounding phony facts, is very common. And it's common sense that when you're researching something, that you really need to know what you're talking about. And you go to multiple sources. Okay. So when you're out there and you're using AI, I want you to be super careful. Just don't take whatever it says at fact. Because if your reputation's staked on it and it suddenly turns into a legal issue, you're not going to be able to sit there and go, well, that's what ChatGPT told me. No, not at all. Moving on to number 3, Microsoft rolled out their AI this past week. One of the features is called Recall. Oh my gosh, listen to this. Take snapshots of your screen every few seconds, so this way you can go back in time in case you forget something. I'm talking about everything. Your apps, your video calls, your files, browser activities, any porn that you looked at, your login details. It's only available, they say, on their new Copilot Plus line of PCs. They're going to be rolling out June 18th, I believe, at a cost of about $1,000. Also new, Microsoft Edge, they're going to use real-time video translation AI tools. So if you're watching something on YouTube or CNBC or any place else and it's not in your native language, that it's going to translate it automatically for you. If you are a developer, you might want to take a look at Azure AI Studio because now they have some new ways for you to create your own AI apps. Microsoft also just updated its free Windows optimizer called PC Manager. The biggest new feature is called Files Cleanup. It's going to help you free up all the junk that may be inside your Windows PC, just bogging it down. You can download it for free over at the Microsoft Store. Once again, that's called PC Manager. Moving on to number 4, OpenTable. I use it all the time. Now, here's the deal. If you start looking at the reviews, things are changing over there. A restaurant should be able to know if the person posting a review is real or not. So OpenTable's making some changes. You're going to have to now leave your first name and your profile photo along with the review, which I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, because if you are looking at a review, you want to make sure that it's trustworthy, right? Finally, this coming in at number 5. 4 million are in the process of graduating from college right now, and that means it's time to go job hunting. Now, AI has changed everything in the way that you think about finding a new job. Graduates aren't the only ones searching, by the way. Hundreds and thousands of laid-off employees are also looking, and a lot of folks are using AI to write cover letters, optimize resumes, whatever it may be. But what we're finding is that applicants are now jumping through a whole bunch of hoops. You have to complete puzzles, attend ridiculous automated interviews just to get past the selection. So what you really need to do is hunker down and make sure that you know a lot about AI. If there are certain keywords that are in the job description, make sure that you use them in the resume, because these ATS, applicant tracking systems, are now being used all over. So you don't even have a human to look at a resume anymore in an application. All right, still to come. Oh, a great tip for the summer, how to spot the space station. I did this last night myself. We're going to talk about your e-bike batteries, how to make sure that they're safe. We've got ways to save on Uber, and we got a lot more coming up here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, winfromkim.com. That's the address, winfromkim.com. Just weeks left in our iPhone giveaway. You could win, but you have to enter at winfromkim.com. All right, Kevin in Suffolk, Virginia. Hi there, Kevin.
I kind of got myself into a pickle with a scam on my phone when I thought it was calling Apple support. My phone started to not play on the CarPlay, and then it stopped charging. And I'm getting ready for an overseas trip, and I've got to have it to where I can charge. So I thought, this is easy. I'll just call up Apple support. I just signed up for the extended warranty. And interestingly, when I asked Siri to call Apple support, it said, it's not in your contacts. We can't make the call. I thought that was odd. So I had to do it myself real quick on Google search and clicked on what I thought was Apple support. Get the page that looks just like Apple support, clicked on the number, wasn't thinking. I'm just calling out to try to get my iPhone fixed. And I'm normally, probably like most people today, are real leery and suspicious of any emails coming in that say click here or, do something that sounds unusual. But this was a bear trap that I jumped into that I didn't really realize I was doing it at the time. And this person was so smooth, sounded, just like Apple would. And the rabbit hole briefly was that, this is a known problem. There could be a virus on your phone. Let's share screens and we'll look into it. And then that quickly went into, somebody's trying to hack into your account. And I have never had a tech support person know the screen so well, because I've called Apple support for things before and thought, wow, this guy is really good. He knows every single screen to quickly have me go here, there. And before I knew it, it was like 45 minutes. So when I finally figured it out, I cut it off, called out the real Apple support now that had my desktop open, because the iPhone is really so convenient and easy. It can really, you can miss this. So canceled the gift card they had me buy and send them a screenshot of. They had not redeemed it yet. And changed my Apple ID. And then I realized,
are smarter than this. Oh, come on. You bought a gift card. Oh.
Well, so it was like a micro deposit. They did all the steps, as I found out later last week, changing accounts. They did all the things that agencies do. They send a micro deposit in your account to make sure it's connected. And then they were using all the same language and the same movements. It was very smooth. But I just started with the wrong people, and I didn't pick it up then. I eventually picked it up, thankfully, probably because my wife was doing the hoppy hoppy dance in the background by that time. But as I thought about it later, they had access to my iPhone for 45 minutes through a screen share, and the app was called Epirius Remote. And as I looked into that app, it's a two-way app, which means they can write and read at the same time.
For sure.
But then as I thought about it more, and then I heard your listening to your show last week when you mentioned about this woman who'd had some brain tumor and couldn't speak anymore, and with a 15-second clip, was able to recreate her voice through a keyboard, but nonetheless order something from Starbucks. It sounded like she was sitting in the car.
That was amazing to me. I mean, she had a brain tumor, lost her voice. It took 15 seconds of her voice off of her social media, and then recreated her voice. So now she can go to Starbucks and she can order through the drive-thru.
And that is so fantastic and wonderful, but it terrifies me because they didn't have 15 seconds of my voice. They had 45 minutes of my voice. And all the institutions of higher banking now, your voice is your password, and for calling in. So they can get in with. So here's my question and my fear. And Apple assures me it's not there yet, but I'm wondering about that, especially in
So are you worried about your voice being used to hack into your bank account?
Exactly.
Okay.
And set up new accounts.
Okay, that can happen. There was an experiment done, I believe, by Vice, where with just a few seconds of recorded audio, this reporter was able to successfully log into his bank account using an app and using his voice, and then fooled the bank's verification system. I mean, so realistically, can this happen? Yeah, it can. Is the banking industry freaked out about it? Yeah, they are. Are they trying to figure out other ways to do this? Yes, they are. And so with your bank, I'm not sure where you bank, but you want to set up various precautions that if something happens with your bank account, somebody wants to withdraw some money, somebody wants to transfer some money, that there are checks and balances. And like, for example, there are a lot of checks and balances on my accounts. I have, if I want to do certain transactions, is that I have an authenticator app on my phone, and I have a 6-digit number that I have to punch in. That digit, those numbers change every 30 seconds. Okay.
Sure.
With my Morgan Stanley accounts, if I want to transfer, they send me the e-authorization. I have to log in. They send me another passcode through a text message. So I got to get that. I mean, you have to jump through a lot of hoops. But we're talking about our money, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really kind of terrifying because it's just there in the background, and I'm really thinking of deactivating my voice passwords, because for anything else, when you log in, it's 2-factor authentication. They send you a text on your phone. You have to plug it back in, like Duo or something like that, or plug it back in their website.
Yeah, and so, but you're smart. You're smart to think about this because it's a valid concern. You're not being paranoid. You're not being crazy. You're not thinking like, the world's ending. No, we're just being realistic that if you have money in a bank account, I would change accounts, by the way, because they could have duplicated your entire phone and they've gotten anything that you had on that phone, any email that you got, anything that they have and that you have on that phone. They could have just got a complete copy of it. That two-way data transfer, that's the big key there. Call your bank up. Say, I'm concerned about this. What can we do? If somebody says, oh, don't worry about that, that's never going to happen. You need to find a bigger bank. You need to find a better bank. Maybe you need to go sit down and talk to the branch manager. Maybe you need to have multiple accounts. That's what I do, by the way. I do. I have various accounts for different uses, but the money's put out all different places. I do that really because of the FDIC insurance, just to let you know. Over a certain amount, the bank goes under. That's always been like a kind of a weird, in the back of the mind, fear for me. But you need to make sure that your banking app is locked down. And for God's sake, don't Google search customer service numbers. If you need them, we have them on Komando.com. Just type in whatever you're looking for, customer service number, because that's how you're going to get taken. Kevin, thanks for your call today. All right, here's a fun fact for you. The International Space Station orbits the Earth about every 90 minutes. And when you see it overhead, it could be on the other side of the planet in less than an hour and a half. Wow. Yes, I'm telling you, I saw it last night. So the ISS is home to astronauts, as you know, to conduct experiments. And it's about the size of a football field. It has large solar panels and metallic surfaces that are highly reflective. That's why when the sunlight hits it, it's possible to see it here on Earth. So in case you want to see it, go to spotthestation.nasa.gov. Once again, that's spotthestation.nasa.gov. Or there's an app called the ISS Detector to find out when the ISS is going to be visible in your area. Once again, that's spotthestation.nasa.gov. Or you want to use the app ISS Detector. Okay, coming right up, Ali Seligman's going to be joining us, our amazing content queen. We're going to talk about how you can save money in your business here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, we have your phone calls. We're talking about your e-bike, how to make sure the battery's safe. I also have some insider secrets to save some money on an Uber. And when we start talking about businesses, okay, a lot of people have asked me, how come you started the Kim Komando Show? Well, why did I start it? Because I had this great career. I was working for IBM, then I worked for AT&T, and then I worked for Unisys. Well, I didn't want to be under the thumb of major corporations. I didn't want that. And joining us right now, we're going to talk about saving money in your business, is Ali Seligman. Ali, you're our amazing content queen at Komando.com and the content director for everything that happens here, and especially the newsletters. But, I really started this company because I didn't want to deal with AT&T shenanigans. Okay.
What type of shenanigans?
I sold a $1 million, $1.5 million, which is a lot of money back then, phone system to the Arizona Republic.
Okay.
Over 1,000 phones.
They probably still use it.
I'm sure. They probably do. So I was super excited, and I went back to my manager with the contract, and, I get everything all installed because, you didn't get your cash until everything was installed. And, it took you had to go do the turnover at 2:00 in the morning when the employees weren't there. This was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So I was supposed to make $15,000 commission.
Sweet.
Okay. I get my check and it's $7,500.
Well, why is that?
Well, I went to my manager. I said, obviously somebody made a mistake. And they said, "Are you a good team player?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, we overpaid the last person on this account $7,500 commission, so we took it out of your check."
You're kidding me.
Okay. So I said, "Well, this isn't going to work."
No.
Okay.
Was that your last day at AT&T?
So I called up Unisys. And I said, "Hi, I work for AT&T as a district manager. I'd like to," because they gave you all these big titles.
Yeah.
So I'd like to sell for you. So I went over and I sold for them. Okay. So I sell a computer system for $12,500,000.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, it was a telecommunications network between Phoenix, Minneapolis, and Singapore for their manufacturing plant. This is a big deal.
Big deal.
Okay. Guess what? Get my commission check.
Oh.
Okay. Now, this commission was supposed to be a lot. Now, remember, this is $12 million, and they didn't expect me to sell this. Okay, because Unisys was suing Honeywell.
Okay.
Okay, so these two are in court, and then I come in and go, hi. Okay. So I get my commission check. It was supposed to be $300,000.
Whoa, baby! And how much was it?
I think it was $75,000, $80,000. So I went to my manager.
Are you a team player?
And said, "First of all, let's get some crap straight. I am not a team player, okay? There is no I in team. No. There's a me, okay? Yeah. This is me." And she said, "Oh, you didn't get the memo?" I said, "What memo was that?" She says, "We changed your commission plan."
Wow, fancy.
"When did you do that?" "Oh, the day before you brought in the contract." Okay.
And they knew the contract was coming in.
So I got a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I got my money.
Good.
But I had to give, a third of it away to the lawyer.
But still the principle of the thing.
And so I took that money and I bought a Porsche.
Of course you did.
And I started a company.
Hey, and here we are.
And here we are.
That brings us to today, folks.
Exactly. It was so dumb buying a Porsche. I was living like ramen noodles and trying to start a radio network and all that other stuff.
But at least you had a cool car.
I did. I looked at, you know what I figured? If I'm going down, I'm going down.
In style.
I'm going down in style. And we still have this rule. The rule is for every dollar that we spend here, we have to go make between 3 and 5.
Yep.
Because we got to pay our taxes and we got to make a profit. Okay. And we have no debt and we have no investors. We love that. Okay.
Hey, yeah.
And so as a small business owner, every dollar counts, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you sent an email, I think this was yesterday, and this is kind of what got my mind going. Amber, who's our HR director of finance, she does everything here, right? Yes. So this woman is incredible, let me just say. Say your car insurance rates got raised, Amber's the person you want to call them and tear them a new one, but very kindly, very politely, very professionally.
Very stern, yes.
Very stern, yes. So she sent an email about a contract that was renewing, something that we have to pay a lot of money for. And Kim, you responded, your whole email just said, Amber, can you get a discount? Thanks. And the confidence with which you said that, because she can. She's so good at this stuff. So
okay, well, we have to back up though. Okay.
Yeah.
In the guy's email, he said that we haven't had a price increase for over 10 years. Okay. And he raised us by $95 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I just gave her the challenge when after he says he hasn't raised us for 10 years to go get a discount.
This is going to be a tough one.
It is, but she's going to do it. I know she can.
She will do it. We should give an update on this later. But so I sat down with Amber and said, okay, Amber, you're the pro here. You know exactly what you're doing. How do you save so much money on all this stuff we have to pay for? And she had some really good little tips. First, if you don't ask, you won't get it right. So when you are signing up for anything new, especially if it's a recurring service, say, hey, I have a small business. Is there anything you can do for me on the price? And they probably will. Even if they don't have an official small business discount, just because you asked, they'll probably give you a discount on it.
And also a new client discount.
Absolutely.
And especially like if you need to go to an accountant or a lawyer, new client discount, please.
There you go. Go to the website a few times. So if this is something that you're going to sign up for online, because some things you do, right? Go to the site, start the process, put in your email address, don't finish it. You're going to get an email probably that has either a code for, hey, you can get 10% off if you use this and sign up right now. Maybe somebody will call you and say, hey, we noticed you didn't finish checking out. Anything wrong? Yeah, it was just a little bit too expensive. Great. Now you got yourself a discount on that. This works with a lot of things too. Like if you want to buy something online and you're like, I don't know, go through the checkout, don't finish. Like 50% of the time you'll get a coupon code.
Oh, personal creations every time.
There you go.
Every time.
Go with the old, we have been a client for this many years. We're one of your best, your biggest, your kindest, here's what we add to the community. Like tell them a little bit about you, right? Make yourself, sell your worth. Why do they want to keep you as a client? We do that all the time. And of course it's easy here because, Kim's on all these radio stations. You've got a really big reach, Kim, but think about you and your local business. You probably have a really big reach in your community too. So use that to your advantage.
Of course, and can always throw in the inflation card.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Our costs are going up too.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but our website's traffic is going, you just tell them a story. Okay. Say here's what it is.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. They have this built into their budgets, right? That they are going to give some people discounts. They just do. And so that could be you if you know the words to say and you know what to ask for. Now, when I was talking to Amber, I said something about, okay, so what do you say to a customer service person when you want to get to a manager or something? And she said, Allie, I don't start with a customer service person. I never do that. I start from the top. So that's one of Amber's tricks too. So if you have your own account rep, great. Start with that person. They probably already know you, probably already like you because you're very nice to all your vendors, right? But if not, okay, find somebody high up at that company that you can connect with. Start there. And they're going to get the ball rolling. Somebody at the very bottom of the totem pole, you're going to get stuck on hold forever.
Now, you know what? We put this web address link in a newsletter recently, and I put in there, I said, you ought to bookmark this. Everybody should bookmark this. This Elliott.org.
Oh, it's so cool.
I mean, the guy has all the phone numbers, has everything. I mean, contact, whatever it may be. And that's where you can go ahead and start at the top.
Absolutely, yes. So it's contact information for, really any kind of big business you could imagine that you need help and you need to reach a real person. So yeah, I would say get on the phone. You're going to have a better chance there than if, you're just going back and forth through email. You're going to get stuck in like a ticketing queue. That's just a pain. Find a phone number, find a real person, and that's going to be your best bet.
And then you plead your case. All right. So if you're not already getting our newsletter, make sure that you sign up right now over at getkim.com, because these are the type of great tips that we pass along time and time again, like every single day. Okay. You're going to love it. We have a rating. I don't know if you saw this, Al. We have over 223,000 thumbs ups.
Oh, I sure saw it.
Okay. Come on, people.
So good.
What are you waiting for? That's getkim.com. Allie, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kim.
All right, let's talk about your e-bike. It's just loaded with a ton of tech, and they're selling like crazy. But you have to be careful. In New York last year, there were over 200 reported e-bike fires. Some led to buildings burning down, major injuries, even death. Now, the bike's lithium batteries are the main culprit. Most are cheap China goods, and they overcharge. They can catch fire. You have to be really careful if you're trashing your bike. So what you want to do is check to see if your e-bike battery is UL rated. That's UL 2271. That's 2271. That means that the battery has passed rigorous tests, how it handles heat, durability, making sure that it's less likely to short circuit or overcharge. Again, you want the rating UL 2271. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as some secret ways to save on an Uber here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, let me just tell you a few things right now. Number one, if you haven't already, make sure that you enter to win the brand new iPhone at winfromkim.com. That's winfromkim.com. Number two, head over to youtube.com/Kim Komando. That's where you can watch our live video feed of the podcast, Kim Komando Today, or on demand, whatever you want. We also have put together, such a great thing. It's Yacht Rock for your summer listening pleasure over at youtube.com/Kim Komando. It's a playlist of like almost 60 songs. So you can just let that run in the background. You're going to love it. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. While you're there, make sure that you do subscribe to my channel so that anytime we have any new updates, you're just totally in the know and you get an alert. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. Alrighty then, Linda in Huxley, Texas. Hi there, Linda.
Oh, I get so much junk mail and spam, and I've tried different kinds of things to stop it. I've tried, do the caller ID thing, say, take me off your list. That doesn't work. They just call from a different number. I've tried blocking the sender, and then I get another message from someplace that says, this is on your block sender list. Do you want to unblock it? So block sender doesn't work. I've tried, everything I can think of. I've looked at all the different lists of what to do, what not to do. Oh, I learned early on, don't do the unsubscribe, because that just tells us this is a good, valid email address. So I'm just really frustrated about it. The harder I try to stop it, the worse it seems to get.
Well, so we're talking about junk email because you mentioned junk text, but we're primarily concerned about email right now. Is that it?
No, I'm concerned about all of it, text messages as well as email.
Okay. All right. So with your email, most of the time that your ISP should do a pretty decent job of getting rid of that email, the junk email, and putting it in a junk folder. If that doesn't work, then there are programs that you can buy like Mailwasher. Another one's called Spam Annihilator, which has been around for both of these have been around a long time. Another one called Clean Email. And what they do is they will give you additional filters to get rid of your junk email. But you also want to start thinking about what email address that you have and then start making different email addresses for different functions. So if you just have one email address that you're using for everything, that becomes a bit of a nightmare. So when you're signing up for newsletters, you're going to use one email address rather. Signing up for say to buy stuff online, you're going to use another email address for your business, be another email address for your personal life, be another one. And of course, you can have them all coming into your one email program. So, but if you are just getting like way too many junk email messages, it might be time to actually change your email address. And that's it's not that hard as it used to be. So basically, you just fire up a new email address, and then the other, with your current email address, you'd say, like, if you're looking for me, here's my new email address, and then that works. A lot of times you can mark junk email as spam right inside your email program to get rid of it. So, but if you don't want to go through all that, just take a look at installing like Mailwasher and Spam Annihilator or Clean Email into your email program. Now, you mentioned spam text messages. That's a whole different animal. Now, your carrier has some built-in tools. Most of the time, you're going to offer them free or just a few bucks a month that will get rid of those spam text messages. The worst thing you can do is reply to it, buy it, because a lot of it, like you noticed, is just junk and you don't want to have to deal with it. But I have found that by signing up to privacykim.com that I don't have any more spam text messages. It's kind of crazy because what they're doing is they're getting your phone number off of the data broker sites and the people search sites. And so Incogni, what they do is they go in and they wipe you out of all these different databases, not just your phone number, but your name, your mailing address, and of course, your date of birth, your relatives, and any other type of personal identifiable information that somebody might want to buy off of you. And then they just get you out of these databases. I'm out of 212 data broker sites. I had no idea there were even that many. And I'm on about 33, 34 is the last number I checked, data suppression sites, which means I'm out of the people search sites and they cannot put me back in. So spam email, you want to go ahead and do those steps. Spam text messages, use your carrier's tool. But I can tell you, nothing works as great as Incogni. You get 60% off right now. They are a sponsor of the show over at privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com. All right, so you're going to be taking an Uber or Lyft, and you're wondering like, oh, how did that price get so high? Well, good thing that you're here, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to give you 3 secret ways that you can save money on your next Uber here on the Kim Komando Show. You know, I use Uber. Okay, it's convenient, but let me tell you, it does get expensive, and those ride fares can really add up. But you can pay less. Here are a few tricks. Number 1, open your Uber app and choose your ride. Okay. Then what I want you to do is to close the app. Wait about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and then reopen the app. More often than not, I find that the fare has dropped by at least 10%. Okay. Another smart move is to use apps or features that alert you when the fares drop. Now, Uber's app lets you set fare estimates, and then you get alerts for your regular routes. This way, you can book your ride when the prices dip. Now, finally, this isn't for everyone, but you can consider sharing your ride if you don't mind company. They have something called Uber Pool, if it's available, lets you share the journey with other passengers headed in the same direction. It could be a cost-effective option compared to like just go ahead and booking the ride all by yourself. Now, of course, you can always get more insider secrets like this with my free newsletter and join over 500,000 folks who get it every single day, and they just love it. Go to this place. I mentioned it once already, but in case you missed it, getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com to get my free newsletter. You're going to join 500,000 folks. Get TechSmart 5 minutes a day. Getkim.com.
Thanks for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's Hour 4.
All right, we're going to kick things off with a PSA, a public service announcement. If you live around high voltage power lines, they are very dangerous. You don't want to climb them. Here's what happened. In Portland, Oregon, this guy decided to climb a power line tower for the ultimate selfie. Oh, the view, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to get all these likes and comments, and people are going to go, oh, gosh, I can't believe you would do such a dangerous thing. Okay, it didn't end well. He didn't die, but after getting electrocuted and falling 40 feet, the transformer blew. But luckily, an off-duty paramedic just happened to be nearby and just sprang into action. The victim was conscious, breathing after the fall, went to the hospital, everything's fine. But here's the deal. High voltage power lines can pack a punch with up to 57,000 volts. I'll tell you one thing about this guy. He is not mentally grounded. And on that note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to this. It's America's largest show about all things digital. I'm, of course, Kim Komando, your beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And let me tell you, you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. I just want you to think about that. And if you're a brand new listener to the show, welcome aboard. Glad to have you with us. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Now, you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. You can also find us in your favorite podcast player. Just search for Kim Komando Show. And you can find us with commercials and commercial free. And you can also get the Kim Komando Show commercial free as part of your Komando community membership. Yes, commercial free. I did say that. All righty. I need two things from each and every one of you. The best way for me to continue to grow the show is for you to tell one friend. That's it. And number two, tell me what you want to hear more about. Head over to komando.com and then hit that link that says Ask Kim. Every single day, just for you, I visit at least 35 or 40 different sites to make sure that we are both up to date on everything that's going on in the tech world. And let me tell you, every single day is a brand new day. Just so many things are changing right now. And here are the top 5 things that you need to know that's happening about tech right now. And we're going to start with the news, because whether you're liberal or conservative or somewhere in between, the news media is America's favorite punching bag. And this punch may soon be lethal. Now, I'm not saying that the news media is dead. Don't be putting that on social. But what I am saying is that there are about to be a lot less of news media sites. Why? Because Google's latest artificial intelligence is taking dead aim at the media. Okay, here's what's going on. When you search for a news story, instead of listing various news websites that have various versions of the story, Google's new AI is going to scan the internet and piece together its own version of the story for you. And let me tell you, news gathering organizations are up in arms. You see, if Google sends them less traffic, that translates into what? Fewer readers, and that translates into slashed advertising revenues. So for major news sites, that could mean layoffs. For the smaller sites, probably bankruptcy. And for you and me, this means that Google AI, with whatever bias it has, is about to become your media gatekeeper. And let me tell you, the most distrusted name in news. Moving on to number 2, get this. There are now 5,504 Starlink satellites in low Earth orbiting, bringing high-speed broadband service to almost anywhere on Earth. This is amazing. But by the end of the summer, a new generation of Starlink satellites will begin communicating with your cell phone so that this way you will never be out of range again. By the end of August, SpaceX will have its first direct-to-cellular phone service ready to go. This is really big news. T-Mobile customers are going to get it first with basic texting on regular unmodified 4G and 5G phones. Now, by mid-next year, SpaceX and T-Mobile are planning on opening satellite-based cell service, data, and voice by the end of the year. Wow, isn't that something? It really is. Now, the connection's not going to be the fastest like 5G. It's going to be more like LTE service, but it's going to be everywhere. But hold on, there's more. AT&T said they're going to be launching their satellites with AST Mobile also this summer. Wow, isn't that something? Moving on to number 3, the top 3 email scams that are happening right now I need to tell you about. Number 1, email disguised as banks and delivery services. They are the main culprits. Very cleverly disguised email that looks almost exactly like the bank or delivery company. That's it. Number 2, you have a package. It's from the post office. Just click the link. Don't do that. The post office, the USPS, they're never going to send these messages. Okay, then we also have UPS services. Your delivery driver can't find your address. Once again, do not click. And finally, the fake bank employee. Please kindly send me your secret banking PIN or a temporary access code. Oh, come on, people. You got to be smarter than this. Moving on to number 4, let's have a little fun and remember some phrases that we used to use every single day. But as popular as they were, we're never going to use them again. Here's one that you used all the time. You remember this one? Did you drop off the film to get developed? Yeah. What about, hey, where's the nearest payphone? Yeah, there's an entire generation of people who have never, ever seen or used a payphone ever. Where are the yellow pages? Don't forget to rewind because you got to take that back to Blockbuster. That's kind of a twofer. Or how about one that's a little bit non-tech? Hey, roll down the window back there. And of course, one we can never forget, I'll fax that right over to you. Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy when you think of all this tech that we had? It was like so amazing that we could use it. Now we look back and go, oh, seems a little archaic. Finally, this coming in at number 5, this is super serious. And I know that you want to have a lot of fun this Memorial Day weekend. But most of us have heard about all the cyber attacks on America's hospital chains. And we maybe just shrug them off and say, oh, well, you know what? That's just another cyber attack. What does that have to do with me? All right, let's talk about Ascension, the nonprofit healthcare system operating 140 hospitals across 19 states. It's a big operation. Now, Recently, their entire operation was reduced to notebooks and Post-it notes. All electronic patient charts were just frozen. Now, what are inside these charts? Oh, yes, the patient's entire history, the core of the hospital's ability to provide care. Lives were at risk. It was a ransomware attack. So here's what you need to do. I want you to go old school on me. I want you to make a list of all your medications. Contact your doctors and get physical copies of all your medical records. Now, keep them safely with you so that should a medical emergency happen, your chances of survival are not compromised by cyber criminals or a hospital trying to figure out how to pay some ransomware. Now, if you are on an iPhone, I want you to look deep inside your health app because inside there's a way for you to download all your medical records, all of them, to a PDF. I did that myself. 66 pages. Wow. Going all the way back to 2012. And I was so impressed with myself. I'll tell you this just for a second, is that I thought, oh, I wonder how much I weighed in 2012. How much I weigh. So I looked it up and I was like, I weigh 2 pounds less now. I was like, whoa, okay. This is a good thing. All right. Coming up, let me tell you, it's just jam-packed. We're going to talk about binge watching, one great trick when you're traveling, 5 places that you're being recorded about right now, and you're like, I had no idea that was happening. Also, if you're getting credit card solicitations in the mail, there is a way for you to make that stop. And you need to make it stop because what? Mail theft is on the rise. I know. It seems like every time you turn around, you're like, oh my gosh. All right. And then we have all of your great phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. So how would you like to win a brand new iPhone 15? You can. A $799 new iPhone may have your name on it. But in order to win it, you got to enter. And where do you do that? winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. Go there right now while you're thinking about it. Now, what's the catch? You have to get at least a couple of issues of my free newsletter, which you're going to love. And by the way, if you already get the newsletter, you can still enter to win. Again, that address, winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com. Oh, and I was looking at the number of positive reviews the other day. It's just so amazing. Thank you guys and gals, really. Warms my heart. I'm so glad that you guys love it. Over 223,000 thumbs up. Whoa. Our rating right now is 4.92 out of 5 stars. So, I mean, all those people can't be wrong. So you want to go to winfromkim.com. All righty then. How about we start with Daniel in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hi there, Daniel.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking my call. I try to listen to you every week, and I have to tell you, I hope it's okay to tell you this. About a year or so ago, you let all your listeners know about the need to make an urgent security update on iPhones and to do it right away. And my wife has the X phone, and she never got any kind of a notification, from her carrier or from Apple. She had to proactively go into settings on her X phone in general and software update, and she got that emergency update right away just because you announced it on the show. So thank you.
You betcha.
Yeah, it was huge. Absolutely. So what's going on now is that my wife has never had her own laptop. She has her work laptop, but she never had her own laptop. So I want to get her a laptop for her birthday. And I was looking for your advice because I'm an end user. I don't know anything about computers. I could tell you what she wants to be able to do. She wants to be able to connect to her iTunes. She wants Microsoft Office. She's into Excel, the professional Excel. Mm-hmm. So she wants the spreadsheets. She wants to be able to store pictures. She wants to be able to have iTunes, listen to iTunes. She wants to be able to make long-distance phone calls using WhatsApp, Skype. She wants to be able to watch movies on Netflix and on TV if that's possible, through an Ethernet, cable, not a cable,
Wi-Fi.
Like a USB port.
Or Wi-Fi. She can just do it under Wi-Fi.
Yes, the Wi-Fi. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Zoom and of course to be able to have conference calls with Zoom, have Zoom meetings, whatever.
Now, does she have a preference for Apple or Windows?
She does. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, she's been a Windows user all her life, and she's just way more comfortable with the operating system on Windows. Mm-hmm. So she wants Windows. and she's looking for a screen that kind of matches the size of her laptop that she uses at work,
which is
like 14. Like it's 14 inches measured from left to right, not diagonally.
Okay.
And she wants a high resolution screen, for watching things, and I could spend like up to $1,500. So
well, that's a pretty good price, that's for sure. I mean, luckily, you probably don't need to spend that much.
Okay.
But what might be nice for you to do is to buy a laptop and then to buy a second screen, a second monitor, so that this way she can have two monitors going when she has her laptop, and she has it stationary on a desk when she's not carrying it around or something like that. Because when you have two screens, it's so sweet. Have you ever used two screens?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what it's like. I mean, you can have like one screen doing one thing, another one, and so she could have actually, watching a movie while she's, doing her email or whatever she may be doing at that time.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
So the reason why, so if you said $1,500, what I'm thinking is that you spend maybe $900 on a really good laptop.
Okay.
And then you can spend another $300 or so on that second screen, and then you kind of have her all set up. And of course, what you want to do too is that you take a nice picture of the two of you, and then you have that made into a mouse pad.
Oh, that's a good idea.
and you get her an external mouse too, because because when you're sitting there and you have your laptop, maybe there's
yeah.
You know what I mean. It's always nice to have an external mouse. But
for sure, 100%.
Or or if you don't want to do that, you can just buy a mouse pad. Because guys don't think like this generally. Is that you get?
No, that's a great point. No, I agree. I mean, on a laptop, you definitely want the external. I don't know why, but it seems to work better. Sometimes the laptop. I don't know what do you call it when you have a mouse pad? When you have a mouse, but it's not a mouse.
No, it's the trackpad. Yeah.
The trackpad, right? Mm-hmm. Thanks. So that thing sometimes it doesn't work, and then I plug in the external mouse on my laptop, and voila! I don't know why, but
yes,
sometimes that happens.
Yeah, so I would get her a nice wireless mouse. You don't want to get get a wireless one, so this way she doesn't have to deal with that cord, and then get her a nice mouse pad, like I said, picture of you, or maybe a picture of all the kids and the grandkids. Something that's really personal. Because that'll be like unexpected, and give that to her last, because she'll be all over the moon with the laptop, and then she'll be over the moon with the monitor, because you'll explain to her how that works, and then you'll give her the mouse, the third thing, and then then you give her the mouse pad.
I have to confess, I mean, I had to let her know that I was seeking your advice, because I would never know all this detailed information about what she wants if I didn't ask her.
Oh, okay. All right.
I had to tell her. It can't be a surprise, because there's just too much, that I need to know before.
For sure.
So I get something that's going to match what she wants.
For sure. So basically, what we're going to look at is a nice Intel, like i7 processor, 1 terabyte solid state drive. Of course, it's going to have the webcam built in, and Windows 11 and a nice touch screen, and what I'm thinking about is about $900. It's a Dell Inspiron. So I'm going to put you on hold, and Amber, who you spoke to already, our lovely and talented call screener today, among other things. She does so much here in the building; it's crazy. But she's going to send you a link out to that Dell Inspiron that I was just mentioning. And then, as far as a monitor, you know what to pick for that. If you need any help with the monitor or the mouse, just let me know, and then we'll go ahead and do some picks along there. But this Dell Inspiron is pretty sweet. And by the way, if you are looking for a laptop, we have the Laptop Finder Quiz. That's right, over at Komando.com. Just type in Laptop Finder Quiz, and I'm certain that that's going to pop right up for you. Dan, thank you so much for your call. Give your wife my regards and tell her happy birthday from Kim Komando. All right, I know I'm a little late to the game, but I've suddenly discovered the series Dexter. I know it sounds really horrible, like a guy who's a serial murderer, but he does it for good purposes. I know that plot line, you're like, I would never watch that. And I wouldn't have never watched it before, but I just started watching the series, and I do admit that I am losing some sleep over it. I'm not alone. More than 3/4 of all Americans don't get enough sleep because of their tech. A survey by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine says that 90% of adults have lost sleep due to binge watching. So what do? Now, if you're a chronic binge watcher, turn off autoplay. Makes it super easy to go from episode to episode. So it's designed to keep you engaged, alert, and watching. So turn it off on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, and Hulu. Next, you can create a sleep timer on your TV. This way, the TV will automatically shut off the screen at a specified time. And if all else fails, just go cold turkey. Say, no more streaming for me until I can get enough shut-eye. Hey, you want to stay right where you are because we have more great tips, tricks, and secrets coming up here on the Kim Komando Show. Now, I know that there are cameras everywhere you look, but you may not be fully aware of how many times you're being recorded throughout the day. I've got a tip about that coming up. And also later on, mail theft is on the rise. So I want you to make sure that you opt out of these unsolicited credit card offers. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do that the easy and free way. And of course, we have all of your phone calls. But before we get to all of that, let's talk about Apple and Google Maps. Okay, tremendous. They're so good at getting you where you need to go, especially when your phone signal is spotty. But you need to know an important trick. Now, before you hit the road, I want you to make sure that you save your Apple or Google Maps directions for what's called offline use. This simple step is going to save your bacon when you need directions, but you hit an area without any cell coverage. So for Google Maps, you start by searching for your destination, type the name or address of the location. Then in that More option, those are the 3-dot menu. Hit that, and that's where that magic appears, download offline map. Now, Apple Maps, I know, late to the party, they just added this feature. Works pretty much the same. Search for your destination, hit that More button, and that's where you can download the map for offline use. Now, heads up. If you're traveling overseas and you want to try to avoid some of those expensive data charges, the roaming charges, I want you to always remember this tip because having your maps downloaded can keep you from those very expensive roaming fees. All right, back to the phones we go with Beth in Houston, Texas. Interesting question. Hi there, Beth.
I'm a single retired teacher, 63 years old, with a lot of single friends. And they're always looking for a new and improved dating site. And I know it's flooded out there with dating sites, but everybody jumps from one to the next thinking there's going to be a whole new group of people and it's going to be the magic group. You're going to find Mr. Right instead of Mr. Right now.
For sure.
And if Andrew hadn't found his woman of his dreams, then maybe he would like to try this new dating app that I have an idea for.
Okay.
I just don't know how to bring it to fruition. I've never created an app, so I'd like a little advice.
Okay.
Where should I start?
Well, you start with anything. You start with an app just like anything else. You start by jotting down all your ideas, the pros and cons, what you want it to include, the competitive analysis of what is already out there, what exists, and also look at the failures of different dating apps to figure out what they did wrong. Okay. And this is even before you even attempt to build an app. I mean, it's just doing a great, business plan, so to speak. And then once you have all that done, that's when you can start creating mock-ups, and then you visualize what your app is going to look like. You can find somebody locally. You can find somebody on the internet to help you do this. If you're not that artistic person, I'm not. Are you?
A little.
Okay.
I won't say very much so, but I have done a few mock-ups. I've taken notes. I feel like whether my app would be I don't think it'll be just another dating site. I think it will gain interest because I have a 3-part idea that will kind of help them narrow down to find the right person that is a good fit.
Okay. So we also want to make sure that you protect your idea legally. That's why I don't want you to give out the idea on the air.
Right. So I won't do that.
So it's a good idea for you to, set aside some money and time, spend an hour with a good intellectual property rights attorney and explain to him or her what you're trying to do and ask them specifically, how do you protect your idea? And and then they'll walk you through the legal process. I can't tell you how to do that. I'm not a lawyer, but I will tell you that, anytime I need somebody to do this, that's who I look for. I don't do it myself because I can't be good at everything. We have to draw the line somewhere.
Right.
Then there are app builder platforms like Appy Pie. Instead of like apple pie, it's Appy Pie, and Bubble and Adalo, that's Adalo. And so they will give you the tools to build your own app, or you can hire a developer or an agency to do this. You can find places, you can find people to do this on Upwork. But if you get to that, that's when I want you to call me because I want to walk you through how not to get screwed, because it's really easy to do that.
That was my concern and why I reached out to you, because I could Google and find places that would help me make it, but I don't know if they're valid. I don't know if I give them my idea and then all of a sudden it pops up here somewhere on the internet, and like you said, I'm screwed.
Yeah, so that's why I want to make sure that you talk to an attorney first. And it's well worth the $500. I know a lot of people are like, it's $500. Okay, let me tell you. Me starting this company and running this business has been the most expensive master's and doctorate's degree in business I've ever gotten in my entire life. Okay. And one of the things that I have learned over time is that you don't skimp on legal resources. That's because anytime I try to do something myself, I'm like, I can read that a contract. I can do that myself. That's when it's like, probably should have had somebody look at that. Didn't think of that, type of thing.
Right.
And so let's take it from there. And then there are places where you're a teacher, you like to learn. Okay. Go to Udemy, Udemy, Coursera, or Code Academy, and look at and take some courses about building an app and take notes along the way. Knowledge is power. So this way, when you go into this, whether you hire a developer or an agency, is that you're going to have a foundation of knowledge, and they're not going to be able to screw you over as easily because you're going to raise your hand and go, what about this?
So you said it was Udemy?
Udemy, that's Udemy. Udemy. And try Udemy or Coursera. There are courses on YouTube, but a lot of these courses and these classes on YouTube, they're going to try to sell you something at the end or in the middle and the beginning, and that's why, like, if you were going to take a course, go to the right place.
Right.
And even if the course costs $10, so what? $10. Right. You're going to go spend that in Starbucks. For a cup of coffee, that you can make it home for 50 cents, but it's at Starbucks. So just, let's start here. And then as you start moving your idea along and along and along, and then I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Make sure you add some AI in that. Everybody loves AI, artificial intelligence. Make sure. And look at what Bumble's doing with AI. I know they got a lot of flack for it, like, this is stupid. But what they're trying to do is say, like, two A bots are going to talk to each other and then find the right person for you. Okay, we're going to go there one day, just not tomorrow. So just think of some AI that you can add into your business plan too. Beth, thanks for your call today. All right, step outside your house, and I want you to have a big smile. Show off those pearly whites, because you're being recorded. Here are 5 places that could be watching you. Number 1, your Uber or Lyft. Lots of rideshare drivers are installing cams, both video and audio, to record. Now, if you live in a one-party consent state, the driver does not need your permission. Number 2, the ATM. Okay, not a total shocker, but the cams often capture this wide angle, which means they're recording the entire surrounding area too. 3, workplace break rooms. Yeah, even when you're off the clock, there could be a camera keeping tabs on you. Next, at number 4, streetlights. Yes, they are becoming so common in cities. Take a look at traffic and public safety. Chicago, LA, New York, they all these large networks of them. And 5, the movie theater. What? Why in the movie theater? To deter and detect piracy. Yes, so smile big. All right, coming up, we still have more of your phone calls you don't want to miss, and also that really great tip on how to opt out of unsolicited credit card mail here on the Kim Komando Show. So right now, you're listening to the Kim Komando Show, right? And I'm so glad that you're doing that. I mean, it's just so rewarding that I have so many people that depend on me and that I can just help have a better digital life. But it goes a little bit further than this. And, every single day I do what's called a daily tech update. So you get the top news story of the day, and then you also get one great digital life tip. Now, let me tell you, I was looking at the numbers of this podcast. They have doubled. Oh my gosh, the number of listens to this podcast that has doubled in the last couple of months. Why? Because it's so good. So wherever you get your podcast, make sure that you get the daily tech update. And it's perfect for, like, say, when you're taking the dog for a quick walk or potty break, you're making your coffee, sipping your coffee, maybe doing a little gardening, just like a short activity. Again, the daily tech update. You can search for my last name, Komando with a K, but I really want you to try the daily tech update. I know you're going to love it. You really will. In my humble opinion, of course, I know, because I write it and I host it and all that other good stuff, but it really is a great product. It really is. That's the daily tech update. All righty then, John in Fort Worth, Texas. Glad to have you with us.
Well, a few months ago, I started noticing similar responses by strangers to posts from my female friends on Facebook. And they start out with flattery, and then they state, "Oh, I sent a friend request, but it didn't go through. Could you send me a friend request?" And if you look at the names and profile pictures on some of these accounts, they're those of retired U.S. military officers, specifically generals. Now, most of your regular listeners probably know by now this is an attempt to initiate a military romance scam.
For sure.
So, yeah. So I started doing a little digging. I did a Facebook friend search on the names of these officers, and it took a few hours, but I found over 5,800 fake accounts pretending to be those of just 19 retired U.S. military officers. And, the number's probably much higher.
For sure.
I only counted those accounts with that use the rank and the name, or the name and a matching profile picture. So I've tried reporting some of these accounts to Facebook, but the response I always got was that the accounts did not violate Facebook's community standards.
Nice.
But, it's against the community standards, one, to not use your real name, and two, to pretend to be somebody else, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if you look at the FBI statistics on these scams, as recently as 2021, the losses in the U.S. due to confidence and fraud and romance scams were about $1 billion.
Crazy.
With about 25,000 victims. Wow. And those are just the ones that are reported.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's a good point. Because a lot of people, they get scammed and they're just too embarrassed to say anything or to report or do anything about it.
Well, I get that Facebook can't stop all the scams on their platform, but do they have to make it so easy for the scammers? Isn't there any other way to get Facebook to take some kind of action on these fake accounts?
Unfortunately, probably not. Because you know what? They just don't give a rat's. They don't care.
Well, I've actually written my representatives, and I have gotten no responses. And I guess the only thing I can do is just to try to raise awareness, like calling you on the show.
Sure. I mean, it's a noble effort. And I don't mean to just say, well, it's, they don't give a rat, so we're just going to move on. No, I mean, there is public awareness, and there are so many lonely people. And Facebook, you would think that because it is a publicly traded company, right, that they would have certain community morals and values in order to uphold that, to maintain a good stature within the community that they are serving. But unfortunately, they don't care, or else they would do something about it. They always go back and they whine. They go, "Oh, we can't do this because there's just too many. There's our algorithms."
Come on. They've got 22,000 employees. All they got to do is to give one employee, administrative rights to lock every one of those accounts with those names, and go find the real person. You don't even have to go find the person that has the real account. I mean, if you lock one real account in order to lock out 3,000 fake ones,
you'd think,
is that a big loss?
Yeah, and you know what? It's a logical solution. But they're going to say, "Oh, it's like whack-a-mole. We get one down, another one pops up." Yeah. But their algorithms are good enough to censor what's in your newsfeed to only show you what you want to see.
Right.
Okay. Which is very alarming to me because 75% of the U.S. population is getting their news from Facebook, but they're only seeing the news that they want to see. Okay. But they can do that. They can track every single thing about us. Mark Zuckerberg can go have his 40th birthday that he did most recently on a $300 million yacht. Okay. A $300 million yacht. Okay. It's not just $300 million. Okay. You're talking about probably at least 75 full-time employees. You have to dock it. You have to fill it up with gas. Then you need the tender behind it to carry all the toys that you're going to bring and your helicopter and everything else. Okay. But we still have people getting taken, not just by romance scams, but everything else on Facebook. And he does not care. Otherwise, they would do something about it.
Affects their bottom line. Well, maybe if it affects their image and then affects their bottom line, then something will happen. But until then, good luck.
But I'm glad that you called in, because hopefully somebody is listening right now who's getting romanced by a former general who just happens to be living overseas. They just think you're just so great. You're so wonderful. And they can't wait to start a life with you. And you're like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. And then the general says his pension and his retirement check didn't arrive, and he just needs some money to hold over until that check comes in. And then he'll surely pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, which he'll never do. John, thanks for your call. All right, still to come, a privacy and identity theft tip. We're talking about opting out of unsolicited credit card mail here on the Kim Komando Show. Have you ever found your mailbox just overflowing with unsolicited credit card and insurance offers? And you wonder, how did these companies get my name and address in the first place? Ah, yes, the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, Innovis. They provide lists of consumers based upon specific criteria to credit card and insurance companies for pre-screened offers because you're so good. Yes, it's completely legal, but you can opt out. It's called opt-out pre-screen. Now, this is really interesting to me. Opt-out pre-screen is actually a tool developed by these credit bureaus. Now, I'm sure they were facing some possible lawsuits or legislation. They're like, okay, we need to come up with some way to fix this. So here's where you need to go. optoutprescreen.com. And then you can opt out for either 5 years or forever. Just fill out the form. Now, if you want to opt out permanently, you have to use snail mail, but it's worth it. You just simply print, sign, and mail a confirmation form. The address again, optoutprescreen.com, optoutprescreen.com. And one more address, winfromkim.com for that free iPhone.